deliver on their skills, and we see that against Afghanistan, Namibia and Scotland, albeit that they are lesser teams. They really delivered on what India could deliver, and unfortunately though, it was too late for them in the tournament. So that gives a very brief summary from allthatcricket.com. I mean, if you want to get more analysis on any game from this tournament or others, go to that site, allthatcricket.com, and you'll be able to inquire there to the founder, Krishna Tunga, and help you with your stats and your data analysis. Well, yes, look, that was some interesting analysis from All That Cricket and Krishna Tunga's detail. But speaking again of analysis, we have one of the gurus joining us, our resident guru, Brad Hogg. Welcome, Brad. Good to see you on board, mate.
Good to see you, John. You're the guru, mate. You're the one with all the stats and everything like that. And you're the one who kept everyone in control. So I'd say that you're the guru.
Well, look, I thought I'm just going to move to one side here a little bit. And just in case people don't recall you in your playing days, here's that little bloke lying down on the ground with that smile that you can see on screen, but it's also on that face of the person lying with the Adzguru hat perched on his head, very happy about winning the 2003 World Cup. That's our resident guru, but he was our resident spin bowler, our chief man in those days. So good to have him on board and good to get his insights. And speaking of that, obviously India played last night versus Namibia. The game had no bearing on the tournament whatsoever. All done and dusted, India not progressing through. So rather than maybe spending too much time on the game last night, but again, I guess what we saw from the game was India's bowlers in control, their spinners in control, and then we saw the Rahul Sharma show once again, really destroying the opposition batting. Now, if they could have moved all these games, the last three games that they played, to the front end of the tournament, where they were really slow out of the blocks against Pakistan and New Zealand. What are your thoughts on India through the tournament? And then probably more importantly, I guess people would like to understand a little bit more about what are your thoughts about India post-tournament and what's coming up for them?
Yeah, look, India are very disappointing, really, because they had the IPL while they were over in the UAE, so they'd been over there playing. They were ripe to go and ready to go. They were probably the team that was most likely to get out of the blocks early and quickly. But if you look at it, I think they're going to have to make a few changes moving forward. You've got three different formats of the game, and it's very hard to chop and change different formats. If you go through life, you've got to be competent at certain aspects of your career. You don't want to be competent at 100 things. You don't want to be what do you call it? You don't want to be
arrogant or
the handyman, if you know what I mean. It's licorice or trades. You want to be special at something. So I'm thinking that they might look at someone like an Agarwal and a Sampson to come into the team, and I think this could be some of the last times that we see Virat Kohli in the T20 uniform. I think he might go and concentrate on the Test arena, the one-day arena, and that's simply because he's pulled out of the captaincy of T20 cricket, and he might have that longevity of concentrating on trying to get as many hundreds as he can and take on that Sachin Tendulkar record. So that's probably where I'm looking for India. You sort of have T20 specialists and Test specialists for me. And I think just getting off India, I think the biggest worry for me throughout this particular tournament is the gap spreading between the haves and the haves not. You've got the four finalists there. You've got Pakistan, who I'll put in the category of the have-nots because they don't get too much finance from the ICC. But you've got England, Australia, and India having all the finance. But then, but then you look out Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, South Africa to a part. Just the widespread between those test-playing nations, the West Indies as well. And then we're trying to bring in the associate nations as well. I think the ICC cricket boards around the world have to sit down and go, where do we want the game to go? Because we can't have too many games where it's so one-sided.
Yeah, no, I agree, Brad. Totally agree with you there. I think as a reflection on the tournament, there were some good games, but there was a heck of a lot of ordinary games. Not necessarily the fault of the teams that played, simply their skill levels were not up to par. And really, again, that is because the ICC have scheduled the World Cup in the way that they have. I'm still a big fan of a World Club Championship as opposed to, a national team championship. But, I think, as you say, the ICC, with respective boards around the world, have to really carefully look at that growing gap, again, as you point out, between the major nations and then those who are sitting below that, for which now, as you again rightly say, West Indies, South Africa potentially, Sri Lanka, there are a number, and of course Bangladesh, there are a number of those sides that are kind of drifting away from the main group, and then we're trying to add in associate countries. So I don't think I think the principle is good, obviously. I think the principle is good, trying to make sure that as many countries can get exposure as they possibly can. But in terms of then delivering a product that is supposed to be a showpiece for the game, I'm not sure that they're really getting that right.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's why I've got so much respect for the teams like Pakistan and South Africa. People are turning away tours to go to Pakistan. Australia have just said that they're going to Pakistan next March, I think it is. But that's always going to have a little bit of unsureness onto it because Australia have got the ability to pull out like they've done to Bangladesh a number of times, which I find disgraceful. You don't take your best team to Bangladesh, and they've already got automatic selection in the next team. And the other team that I really love is South Africa, for the simple fact of the issues that they go through over there. They're trying to establish the racism culture and fix that. And having to sort of carry a couple of players in that aspect, trying to do the right thing and grow the game in those nations, I have total full respect for it. And they're still competing at the highest level, and they've done that for a very long time. And other nations have been sort of saying the big thing about, we want to grow the game out to other races, and they're not really doing it as effectively as South Africa. So I think, that's another reason why we're leaving the game behind with those two particular nations, is we're not helping them out with the good causes that they're following.
Yeah, no, good points, mate. So that sort of segues us into the semi-finals, and stick with your team, Pakistan, that you admire for exactly not only what they're doing, but not necessarily getting it would seem, the full support of the ICC and other cricketing countries around the world. They've been gypsies, haven't they? They've been nomads for a long period of time, simply because of issues back home and also decisions made by other boards. But they take on Australia in the first semi-final. Do you think they can continue the style of game that they have displayed so far? And will it be good enough to beat Australia, who definitely look like they're running into the right sort of combinations and ability to deliver what they want to deliver in a game? Of course, I think Finch has won 4 out of 5 of his tosses, and they've been fortunate enough then to send the opposition in and then chase. But Australia seem to be in a reasonably healthy position at the moment. Pakistan haven't dropped the game yet. Pretty exciting game by the looks of it on Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely exciting. It's good to see Australia getting the in form at the right time. The only thing that worries me with Australia is I'd rather play New Zealand than Pakistan out of that group, for the simple fact I think Pakistan match up with Australia really well. You've got Finch and Warner at the top of the order, and they've got to face Shaheen Afridi and Wazim opening the bowling. Warner has his problems against left-arm swing bowlers. Shaheen Afridi takes the ball away from him, but it's also got a good straighter one where Warner plays away from his body. So he's got a lot of opportunities to get him out there, Shaheen Afridi. And then Wazim with his left-arm spin to Finch. Finch is not comfortable about that, and if our top order gets broken down very quickly, then Pakistan have got Ralph to really attack Maxwell, and they are the three matchups that I'm really worried about, because if we can get a good balance of Maxwell just facing the majority of Shadab Khan and Hassam Ali, then he's got the capability of taking it away. So that's in our batting area. In our bowling department, we've really got to crack Rizwan and Babar Azam up the top of the order. They've made over 50% of the runs for Pakistan this particular tournament, and this is where Stark's got to lift. This is going to define Mitchell Stark with the new ball. Is he good enough to get the breakthrough of these two batsmen? Because if he can get the ball to swing and bowl with pace, well, he's going to be the match winner for us with the ball. If he can't get those breakthroughs, well, even though Hazelwood's a dominant bowler there, but he's more an economical bowler. But Stark's the wicket taker to crack it open there. And if we can win all those three matchups, well, Pakistan are going to be blown out of the water. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, no, I'm right behind you there, totally. And then we look to the following night, England versus New Zealand. And as we said, New Zealand generally make semi-finals in a lot of World Cups. Certainly that's been my experience, whether it be one-dayers or T20s. Whether they can push through, I haven't really followed too much, but is Jason Roy still out of the English side, or will he be ready for the semi-final, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, but if he's out, I think it's a good thing for England, because I think it's going to give them better balance. They'll be able to pull Milan up to open the batting, then have Ali batting out three, who did a good job for Chennai Super Kings in the IPL. Bairstow, Livingston and Morgan. So you've got your top six, and that will be able to bring Willie into the lineup as well and bat him out 7 or 8. And you're not losing much with the ball with the bat there, because you've got Wokes, Rashid, Jordan, as well as Willie, that can all handle the bat, so they can bat fairly deep. But what it does is give them an option of having another power play bowler, where Willie likes to swing the ball. He can take those wickets in the power play. All of a sudden, you've got Wokes and Willie doing the bulk of the work with Ali in the power play, and that allows you to have Jordan bowl more overs in the back end, where they're going to miss out because of Mills's injury, and then they can use Wood varyingly. So they've got Wood, Rashid and Jordan to bowl those, or 12 of the 14 overs out the back end, which gives them better balance. So for me, England will be hoping that Roy is injured in a sense to take away that headache of selection issues. But for me, I just love the way that New Zealand are balanced, and I think bringing Mitchell up the top of the order has been a great move for New Zealand, because then it allows Guptill to take a little bit more time and try and bat through the innings, and also takes the pressure off Williamson at number 3, and you've got Conway at number 4. So that is a very solid top 4. And then they've got Neesham coming in out 5 or 6, who can try and find the boundaries out the back end. So for me, New Zealand somehow are always a very balanced team, and they've had that collective group through the whole tournament. So for me, I think New Zealand are going to win that, and New Zealand are a big chance of taking out the tournament.
Right, very good. So I'm not sure what the viewers are seeing, but I'm just seeing a bit of a blank screen from you. Hearing you nice and clearly though, Brad, so I didn't really want to interrupt you there, because you're on a roll and giving a very good explanation. So unfortunately it just seems, yes, we've lost your vision, but again, thank you for those insights. Very, very, very in-depth in terms of not only, I guess, world cricket, but also looking into the various teams, whether that be India or the 4 semi-finals, and utilising that knowledge and experience of yours and your recency as you have been a commentator and looking closely at the teams. It's very much appreciated, and we hope to be chatting more with you through the semi-finals and finals. So thank you again, and that'll be our coverage of the analysis part for now. So there we have it from our resident guru analyst, Brad Hogg. Some really, really interesting thoughts on all the 4 teams going into the semi-final, and of course a little bit of India as well. So look, remember, we have our competition still running. Want you to send in those questions for us to try and pick the winner, and we'll replay that question at our next session. And of course you will win a signed t-shirt from myself, as well as a $50 gift voucher from Echo Look. So that's it for today. Look forward to seeing you at the real exciting times coming up. Semi-final, England versus New Zealand, then Australia versus Pakistan. Thank you. Bye for now. See you soon.